Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. We are going to get right into some Q posts. I'm going to read through them, then I want to talk to you just a little bit afterwards, but we are going to get right into it. So that's what we are going to do. Where we last left you, we were here on April 7th, 23 minutes past the hour of 2. Q says China, Zhongxing, Tuesday. Q. Okay, well, we don't know what's going on in China yet. There's a lot of speculation there, but that was where we ended up, and we sort of finished this whole thing off the island here with RC. Okay, we all remember about this. That was Rachel Chandler. We figured out that's all done. I'd like to leave that all go. I want to keep in mind that's still a relatively young woman, and we don't know the whole story on that or what's happened, but it looks like Q wants us to revert as well. So I would like to encourage that we just sort of let that go. I think it's already been done. What will be, will be. Okay, we are going to read the most recent post here. Here we go. April 7th, 2018. 2 minutes after the hour 11, there is a link. Q says, coincidence. Statistically impossible. Pray. Day 1. Q. 20 minutes past the hour of 11. You have more than you know. Steel. Tech. America for sale. Systematic weakening of the U.S. Uranium One. Cash flow funnel. Inside job, traders, dollars. We are in control. Those awake can see. 30 minutes past the hour of 11. Responding to an Anon post, please confirm or tell us if we are wrong about POTUS weekly address. It's happening, meaning what we all think it means. Q says, talking to you, Anon. We always see it's happening here. The tone, war, April showers. Q. Adding on at 32 minutes past the hour of 11, Q says, EH, assumedly Eric Holder, California, relevant soon, Q. Adding on 38 minutes past the hour of 11, border states are very key, bigger than you can imagine. The pipeline, not R versus D. California is special, public will learn. 30 minutes past the hour of 12. We have another link. Listen carefully. Q. 16 minutes past the hour of 1. We have another link. Read between the lines. Front page. Fake news. 33 minutes past the hour of 1 in response to an Anon user who says 8chan. Q says new tactic. Buckle up. Media Matters 4chan. Narratives plus anything Q. Clowns plus Twitter push. MSM overdrive. All for a LARP? Q. 28 minutes past the hour of 1. We have a picture. Q acknowledges the picture and a comment on it. Patriots stand together, strength, power. They want you divided. Okay. Now you are all caught up on the Q posts. If you want to leave it there, you may. If you'd like to hear what I think about them, we'll go through that and then we'll chat just a little bit. So we started here today. Now this takes you to a link to Fox News link. Q says coincidence, statistically impossible. Pray, day 1. Okay, well remember we had a couple days on the island a couple days ago, and now we have a 1 in kill brackets. And we've normally known that to be kill brackets, but now it seems that they're referring on maybe day 1 of another operation, and maybe they're trying to kill a day. Who knows? Okay, but the link takes you here to Fox News. 2 soldiers killed in a helicopter crash at Fort Campbell. Well, this is terrible. Now the Army has gotten in on the deal here. 2 soldiers were killed with their helicopter crash during a training exercise at Fort Campbell in Kentucky, officials said Saturday. The soldiers were members of the 101st Airborne Division. The crash happened Friday night and involved an Army AH-64E Apache helicopter. The names of the deceased will not be released until 24 hours after next of kin notification is complete, officials said. The crew was conducting routine training at the time of the accident. There were no other casualties. Fort Campbell Fire and emergency service members responded to the crash scene. Okay, so now we've had an Army helicopter go down. There's their official statement off of their Twitter. Well, the other day we had the Thunderbird pilot. That's Air Force. F-16. We had a couple problems with F-16s. So that was the Air Force. And then even before that on Tuesday, a Marine Corps CH-053E Super Stallion helicopter crashed during a training flight in California. Okay, well, we reported all these in past videos. If you haven't seen them, just go on back a couple days and you'll see them in the previous videos. But as you can see, we are clearly at war. These aren't just training accidents. And these are terrible things, and we don't know exactly what the stories are. We probably never will. That's how war works. But that's what's going on. Statistically impossible? Very much so. I've got a few links to the Air Force engineers, people who work directly on helicopters and things like that, and they're just shaking their heads saying this just doesn't go on. It doesn't go down like that. They have a ton of pride in their maintenance, and what can I say? We're at war. Even Q says pray. Now, I don't pray necessarily myself, but last night I prayed for Buddy. All right, we're moving on. 20 minutes past the hour of 11. You have more than you know. Steel, tech, America for sale, systematic weakening of the U.S., Uranium One, cash flow funnel, inside job, traders, dollars. We are in control. Those awake can see. Okay. Well, Trump has obviously talked a lot about steel, and I don't want to take you through a bunch of links and a bunch of stories and a bunch of, convoluted things. We know what's kind of going on. We got sold out on steel. Our steel towns have become some of the worst. How should I say? They've been the worst financially, because steel mills have shut down. Our contracts went overseas, and then we discovered that our steel was being falsely made overseas. Well, this costs us a lot of things. It costs us money in infrastructure. It costs us money in jobs, loss of jobs particularly. It just absolutely wrecks your economy. And we were we were sold a bill of goods basically saying that steel was sort of antiquated and it needed to be outsourced. Well, no, it doesn't. These are our steel towns. They're very, very important. We also came across this, if you remember. This was some back in, I want to say December. I'm not exactly sure. December or January, I think. This is the Red October steel plant in Stalingrad. And I don't want to go way into this again, but this was from the CIA documents, and I'll, of course, leave this below. But you can read all about this. But this was a factory that we were working with in Stalingrad. It wasn't up to code. It was dirty. It was unclean. It wasn't really fit for fit for use, I guess. And Q obviously thought it was important. So I just wanted to reference you back to that. But obviously, so steel's a big deal. Tech's a big deal. Where's our tech going? Our tech's going to India. Our tech's going to China. Our tech's going everywhere. Silicon Valley it's not quite the powerhouse it used to be. Everything's getting outsourced again. But we also have Google. Is Eric Schmidt in China? What about Facebook? I read you about Facebook a couple days ago about Zuckerberg wanting to, kind of help build systems over there and basically help censorship systems. So, does that have to do with all the satellites that we've been talking about? I don't know. But you get the idea. You kind of get the whole narrative, which is what I think Q's really just trying to dial us in on. America for sale. Clearly, like I just said, systematic weakening of the U.S., of course. And what else would make us weak? Uranium One, the sale of uranium to Russia. Are we selling to Russia or are we selling to deep state Russia? The cash flow funnel suggests deep state Russia. And are they trying to kind of promote the narrative that Russia is dangerous when really it's just the operatives that we're finding related to the Clinton, not only the Clinton Foundation, but the Clintons themselves, the Clinton campaign. That's where a lot of cash was going. We gave away a ton of uranium. It's dangerous. You get the idea. Inside job, traders, dollars. We're in control. Those awake can see. Okay. We're moving on. Now, this is in response. Q, please confirm or tell us if we are wrong about POTUS weekly address. It's happening, meaning what we all think it means. Q responds, talking to you, Anon. We always see it's happening here. The tone, war, April showers. Okay, well, they're referring to Trump's address, and we're going to play that in a minute, but I want to skip through because it's going to become relevant again. But that's what this is referring to. There's an Anon wanting to get a confirmation. Q is saying you're going to get it, essentially. Okay, we always see it's happening here, meaning that they always see us talking about, oh, it's happening. We want to see stuff happening. And so Q wants us to look at the tone, and then again stresses that we are at war. Okay. Adding on to that, Q says, EH, which I'm assuming is Eric Holder, California. Relevant soon. Q, Eric Holder, California. Relevant soon. Okay, we can't go way into this, otherwise it would be a massive video. Eric Holder, of course, he's famous for Fast and Furious. Let me read you this from the National Review way back in 2016. El Chapo's capture puts Operation Fast and Furious back in the headlines. Obama administration scandals never resolve, they just vanish, usually under a new scandal. So, it was with one of this president's earliest embarrassments, Operation Fast and Furious, designed to help the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, dismantle drug cartels operating inside the United States and disrupt drug trafficking routes. Instead, it put into the hands of criminals south of the border some 2,000 weapons which have been used to kill hundreds of Mexicans and at least one American U.S. Border Patrol agent, Brian Terry. Now, Fast and Furious is back in the news. Earlier this month, a raid on the hidey hole, I like that, hidey hole, of drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman recovered not only the notorious drug lord, but a massive .50 caliber rifle, good lord, capable of stopping a car or shooting down a helicopter that originated with the ATF program. Rest easy though, only 34 such rifles were sold to the program. Okay, well you remember Fast and Furious, I don't want to go way into this, but you get it. And Eric Holder was a big part of this, right? He was a big part of it. About a year later after this, California hires, guess who? Eric Holder as legal bulwark against Donald Trump. This is from the New York Times from literally a year after the previous article. Los Angeles girding for 4 years of potential battles with President-elect Donald J. Trump. Democratic leaders of the California legislature announced Wednesday that they had hired Eric H. Holder Jr., who was Attorney General under President Obama, to represent them in any legal fights against the new Republican White House. Now, I'm not going to go way in here, but I want to read this next. I want to hear right here. This is a quote here, and this is from Kevin De Leon. Having the former Attorney General of the United States brings us a lot of firepower in order to prepare to safeguard the values of the people of California, Kevin De Leon, the Democratic leader of the Senate, said in an interview. This means we are very, very serious. Okay, well, this is a super convoluted story. I think most people who are following this video understand about Fast and Furious. If you don't, get to know about the story, because evidently it's going to come, like Q says right here, relevant soon. Just a suggestion here. Now, this isn't my favorite site necessarily, but they've got a lot of articles here. This is from the LA Times. I'll leave you the link below, but there are tons of stories here regarding Fast and Furious, so you can kind of get caught up. Here's a good bunch of primers here. A lot of good stuff here, okay? And you'll see that there are some articles directly about Holder. We can't go way into them. You could make a whole movie about this story, but this all went down years ago during the Obama administration, all coming relevant soon. Okay, moving on. Adding on to that, Q says border states are very key, bigger than you can imagine. The pipeline, not Republican versus Democrat. California is special. Public will learn. Okay, well, clearly in these most recent posts, Q's not being cryptic. I think Q's being very, very, very succinct, and he's saying border states are very key. Well, we've seen a lot of things go down in border states. Remember, McCain now all of a sudden is going to be very sick. That's Arizona. That's a border state. We had some arrests in Texas. That's a border state. How about homeboy from, let's take it back here, Blake Farenthold abruptly resigns from Congress amid sexual misconduct. Okay, I put this, sexual misconduct allegations. Okay, border state. So, you see what we're saying here? Everything, what's going on the border? What's so key? Border states are very key. The pipeline, are we talking about a human pipeline? Are we talking about an oil pipeline? Are we talking about a Keystone pipeline? Are we talking about drug pipelines, gun pipelines, Fast and Furious? We're talking about pipelines. Border states are very key. California's always been very key. Why? It's a big state. Not to mention, it's a border state. Not to mention, you've got Hollywood there. You've got Silicon Valley there. Not to mention you've got Long Beach, LA, Sacramento. These are port towns. California seems very key. California is special. Public will learn. Okay. Moving on to here. Now we have the White House Twitter link. Listen carefully, Q, and it takes you to here, and that's why I was waiting on the Trump video. I'm just going to play you the last line here. It's about a 3-minute video, and you should go listen to it. It's nice. It's a weekly address. I love the weekly address. Personally, I think it's great that the president does it. But let me take you over to the YouTube because you can just see it a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to play you really the last tagline, which is what I think we're really, really listening for. Now, there's lots of other things to listen for, including at the beginning of the video. If you watch this video, I want you to notice a time where he puts his knuckles together and he sort of gives like these double fist pounds twice. I just want you to see that. I'm not going to play it for you. I'm going to play you this last line, though, because this is what's important.
Doing what's right for our country. I will not rest until we have secured our borders and restored the rule of law. We will win, and we will win soon. It's happening.
Okay, there you go. We will win. We will win soon. It's happening. Where did we hear it's happening? Talking to you, Anon. We always see it's happening here. The tone. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that.
We find out.
Where's homeboy? You just hush your mouth. Not talking to you. Okay. Now we're going to take you over here 16 minutes after the hour of 1. We've got another link here. Looks like to a CNN article. Read between the lines. Front page. Fake news. Q. Okay, let's take you over to that link. This is CNN Politics. Exclusive. Trump advisor played key role in pursuit of possible Clinton emails from dark web before election. Oh my goodness. No. A Donald Trump foreign policy advisor pushed government agencies to review materials from the dark web in the summer of 2016 that he thought were Hillary Clinton's deleted emails. Multiple sources with direct knowledge tell CNN. Joseph Schmidt, get to know that name. He's going to pop up this week, I guarantee. Approached the FBI and other government agencies about a material a client of his had discovered that Schmitz believed might have been Clinton's missing 30,000 emails from her private email server, sources say. The material was never verified, and sources, they say, ultimately believed it was fake. Okay, well, there's a lot to this here, but I think it's all kind of summed up in this article. Here we got this guy, Joseph Smith, and he had a client of his. Well, he hasn't mentioned who his client of is. I'm assuming he's, going to play that whole, anonymity thing. It's his, being honorable towards his client. But who's this client? What client? Believed might have been Clinton's. So a client believed these emails came from the dark web. The material was never verified. So what they're doing is they're muddying the waters. Okay, they're clearly muddying the waters, and they're going to start. And again, it's just all part of getting it out in front of the narrative, just like we heard yesterday about this MSNBC interview coming up with Loretta Lynch. They're trying to get out so that they can tell their story first, because if they bark the loudest, and believe me, they've got all the news outlets. If they bark the loudest, most people are just going to assume that whatever they're saying is the truth, and they're going to make it look like it's this big new revelation. Okay, but let's face it. If you want to know the story the story of collusion, I want to take you back over to my channel. Please, I put a lot of time into these videos, and I would love it if you gave them a look. Here they are. In Pursuit of Truth presents the real collusion story, part 1, 2, and 3. They're fairly long videos. They come from the National Review article by Michael Doran, and he did a brilliant piece here. As a matter of fact, Q simply stated truth when Q posted the links to these articles. So I put a lot of time in those videos. If you want to know how the collusion story really went down, it might be important to know, because they're going to start muddying up that story as well. And that looks exactly like what they're trying to do here by putting this Joseph Smith here, as all of a sudden he's going to come out looking like he's this big white hat. Okay, so enough said about that. I think you can read between the lines. Okay, 33 minutes past the hour of 1. In response to a user that says 8chan, Q says new tactic. Buckle up. Media Matters 4chan. Narrative plus anything Q. Clowns plus Twitter push. MSM overdrive. All for a LARP. Okay, well, what's the new tactic? They're going to start pushing this new narrative here. What are they doing? Well, let me take you back just a little bit. This was just from yesterday. To Q's post here on April 6th. Spread out by design. MSNBC next. Well, where is Loretta Lynch's interview going to be? MSNBC. Okay. At Jack. They looked like they were offering a deal to Jack. No Pizzagate bot push. Post RC again being Rachel Chandler. Saving for Monday. Okay, so it looks like maybe Jack didn't take the bait. We had this open the door and close to door. What was close to the door? Something might have been close to the door, or maybe they're closing the door. I don't know. I don't know what this is, and I'm not really worried about this. But obviously, there's a difference between the open the door and close to door. They're not saying close the door, as if it might be close to the door. But all I care about is that it looks like MSNBC is going to get out front. Twitter. Does Twitter get mentioned? Yes, it does. Clowns plus Twitter push. Well, we know Twitter is a CIA-driven media outlet. So they're going to be pushing a narrative. They're going to start flooding things. I'll bet you there's going to be a whole bunch of new Q things. I think if you want to know what I really think, I think that it's all of a sudden going to become very in vogue. People are going to start wearing Q shirts. You're going to see Q hats. You're going to see all these Hollywood stars geeking out about Q. But what they're really going to be doing is they're going to start sending us off into this sort of watered down version of what we're really trying to make Q. It's going to make the real Q harder and harder to find in all this media. What about Media Matters 4chan? Well, they're already on it right here. Here it is. This is Media Matters. Far-right media immediately float conspiracy theories about Austin bombings. Well, I reported on the Austin bombings. I'm not far-right. Conspiracy theories, I think we showed a lot of fact. We showed nothing but fact. Okay, so here you go. So here it is. Now you can see it. You can see they don't have much yet. I guess they're still thinking. But here what they're doing is they're basically just taking our narrative and turning it into crazy. Look at all this crazy stuff these guys are talking about. Look at it, look at it, look at it. So they're just going to flood it. Finding Q could be like finding a needle in a haystack. It might be harder for us to locate Q. Who knows? Here we got the cast of Glee right there. All right, so you get the idea? Well, you get where we're going here? They're getting out in front of this. This is their last sort of bastion of defense, if you will. Buckle up. Narrative plus anything Q. Exactly. So they're going to give you the narrative. They're going to say, no, this is the truth. This is the hard stuff, because they realize that we don't trust the mainstream media. So they're going to start pushing themselves as if they're not mainstream media, just like we are. They're going to make you question people like you and I. I think you understand where we're going with this, okay? MSM overdrive. All for a LARP? Yes, all for a LARP. Okay, so now we're on the last one here. NQ is responding to an Anon. Says, Patriots stand together. Strength, power. They want you to divide it. And it takes you over to this picture. Let me take you over here. Okay, so this looks like Washington, D.C. here, near Capitol Hill. Am I correct? I think that is. Sorry, I haven't been to the States in a while. Okay. We demand transparency and justice. Operation Justice March. Okay, cool. So we got some people marching now. We got some people that are getting out and making some noise themselves. And it looks like Q's encouraging that as well. Patriots stand together. Strength, power. They want you to divide it. Well, those are your Q posts right there. Those are your Q posts. I think we know what Q's trying to say there. And I actually do want to touch a little bit on this, but if you are finished with the Q post, you are welcome to turn off the video. Thanks for sticking with me thus far. I do want to actually respond to one of my viewers, and it's in relation to this last Q post, if I may. And I just want to wax a little bit, and I hope this person doesn't mind me calling them out. This is from Truth, whether you like it or not, who says, hello, Sir Patrick. Can you get with others like Dr. Corsi, Lionel Nation, Dustin Nemos, Isaac Green, Steve Motley, Destroying the Illusion, James Munder, and others to organize a peaceful national march of patriots so we can demand we want our country back? We all do a great job educating each other, but we must start getting organized. It is time. President Trump cannot fight this battle all alone. He needs us to get organized and peacefully march to demand we want our country back. Please consider this. And okay, well, I am going to really consider this. First of all, Truth, whether you like it or not, thank you. I've seen some of your other posts, and you're always really helpful. So I hope you don't mind me calling you out on that. I'd like to touch on that before I go. First of all, I agree with so much of what you said very strongly, especially here. We all do a great job educating each other, but we must start getting organized. I fully agree. I think what's more important is not so much, which messenger we're listening to, but that we all start kind of unifying and really getting a strong case built, a strong theme, a strong story, a strong narrative, one that we all get back on. We all kind of know what's up, and there are so many things that we're all searching, and researching and finding out. And of course, we're all following Q, we're all following Trump, but I do love the idea of getting organized. Now, that being said, before I comment on the march, I would just like to mention something that Ben Shapiro mentioned not long ago, and I'm a big fan of Ben Shapiro. I don't always agree with everything he says, but I think he's spot on. He just such a coherent speaker, and I appreciate his tactics and his ability to convey ideas. And he mentioned something that I think is really relevant to this. Historically, if you will, and I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican or whatever, but historically, Republicans liberals, left-leaning people tend to have organized better than the right. I think the right is very strong in their ideals, and because they believe in so much of their liberties, they tend to not want to attach themselves to groups and marches and things like that. They like to be self-reliant, and they preach these kind of things, and I think that's great. Idealistically, I tend to agree. But you got to hand it to the left. They've always been able to march. They hashtag things. They have marches, and they wear ribbons, and they put tape over their mouth, and they do these Hollywood things. And, Hollywood's always backed them. And most of the mainstream media has always backed them. You got to give it to them. They've usually been in control of the narrative, and they have always been stronger at that. And I think that we have to really kind of give that to them. That being said, when it comes down to marching, I like the idea, and I think if we can get into something like that, I would support it. I'm not big on marches, and I'll tell you why. Number one, I fear a little bit right now for our safety. I don't know what some of these funded groups that come to disrupt marches and things like that, I don't know what that could create. I don't know if it would end up doing more harm than good. That being said, I'm not saying that let's not do a march. I'm just saying that those are things that we need to consider, considering the media blitz we're going to face right now. I don't want to find us people of importance end up being ridiculed, or I don't want to see violence in the streets. I don't want to see those kinds of things. What I would like to suggest when it comes down to getting organized is let's use our strength. Let's use some of these luminaries like Dr. Corsi and Lionel Nation, or who I'm big fans of. I think the other guys do great channels too. I don't usually like to mention other channels because I just kind of let them handle their business in their own way. They know what they're doing. I'm perfectly happy to help. Now, physically, I couldn't come to a march. I don't live in the United States, so I wouldn't be at a march. But I will do anything that is going to kind of help push our narrative. So yes, if anyone has some contacts with some of these people, I'd be happy to. If you would like, as the viewer, would like to see me do more exchanges or interviews or live streams with some of these people, you let me know. I'm just going to keep doing my thing until then, but I'm more than happy to help organize that. That being said, why don't you let me know in the comments below what you think about this kind of stuff? How do you think we should do this? I would love to see us do more media blitz type things, whether we all release the same video at one time or something like that. Things that we're going to be able to organize and really use our strength for what we do. Anyway, that being said, that is all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. If you've already done so, please make sure you do again, please, because you may have been unclicked. All right, I am Sir Patrick Mack, and until next time, please stay focused, stay cool, stay off drugs, stay in school.